because you want to feel like you can have the most awesome man in the world. Like, does he fit my needs? Was he good enough for me? Not, this idea of feeling like, am I good enough for him? Is he good enough for me? And feeling like you could have him back no matter what. That isn't the question, but do I want him back? Or would I prefer someone better? Because you have the option. Know that you can, have 10 amazing guys fighting for you, and who's best for me.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. If you're going through a breakup right now, I'm sorry. I know those pretty pitiful words, right? Because no one can know what you're going through. It's awful. It shouldn't have happened. And now you're left to put the broken pieces of your life back together. But maybe there's one thing you want more than anything, right? To turn back the clock and just erase all of this. To be back with him the way it used to be, when it was so magical and perfect, and he loved you so much that he couldn't bear losing you. Well, our guest for today, Veronica Isles, might be able to help. So she can't turn back the clock and erase it, but what she can do is give you action steps to take to get him back in just 25 days. Veronica is a 40-something life coach based in the Chicago area. She's been coaching for nearly a decade with 5 books on Amazon and nearly 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. She specializes in healing relationships, but she also helps women lose weight, improve their finances, and create the life of their dreams. Welcome, Veronica.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here today.
So I want to start out with a comment you had made.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you were someone who was always very unlucky in love.
Extremely unlucky.
Tell us some
Oh
stories.
gosh. Yeah. I always seem to run into relationships where the guy would be amazing at first and everything would be going great, and then it would just collapse. And it was really my own belief system that someone would tire of me or not really love the real me, or, I would get anxious because when things are going well, you don't want to lose it. And I think that this is a common thing we see in relationships. When things are going really well, you tend to pour your heart into this other person, lose yourself a bit, and become really afraid that they're going to leave, that it's going to end, that it's going to collapse. And it does. And it always did for me until I really learned about why this was happening and learned about how to fix it. And then I empowered myself, and I've never looked back since, and things have been amazing since then.
Yeah, so you have, first of all, what's important about you is that you have done all this yourself.
Yes.
You've transformed your life in a number of ways, whether, your finances and your weight and your love life. And your focus, what I really like about what you said was that when fear kicks in, that's when things go downhill. But you talk about the importance of positive thinking.
Absolutely. I mean, it transforms your life. Also determination, being able to see hope, being able to see new possibilities instead of getting stuck into the worst possible outcome. Like being able to see better things. You may not know how you're going to get to that place, but just at least recognizing that the possibility exists will help you get there.
That is so fantastic, because I completely agree with you. I think when we get into a relationship, the more too we care about it, the more we worry about it, and the more we spend our energy thinking about the worst possible outcome rather than the best.
Right.
So you use the law of attraction, and I want to know, how did you start using it?
I started using it obviously from a breakup. I was heartbroken, crying, not eating, not taking showers, like just moping around in bed, completely lost. And I was trying to figure out, why did this happen to me? What is going on? Things had been idyllic before, how on earth did we get to this place? And that's when I learned about the law of attraction. And I thought, well, this makes sense. And it's sort of, I hadn't really practiced it yet, but just the idea of it made sense, especially why other bad things had happened before in the past. And I remembered my state of mind during those times and really decided, you know what, I'm going to try this. And I got him back. And that's sort of how I, developed this whole, this whole system of helping people, because I realized, wow, look what I did in my own life and look at how bad the breakup was. And yet I got him back. And I was just so happy about it. And then I started helping other people. And that's sort of how it stemmed from there. But yeah, I learned about the law of attraction through a breakup. which I think happens a lot.
That is fantastic. So just, I'm sure probably most of our viewers know exactly what you're talking about, but in case there's one viewer
Yeah,
out there who does not know what the law of attraction is,
right.
could you tell us?
Right. The law of attraction is basically this idea that your thoughts and feelings are creating your tomorrows. So the thoughts that I'm focusing on, the feelings that I'm giving out, this energy that I'm emitting, it's sort of creating a foundation. And there's always a time delay. So there's always going to be like, X number of days that it takes to get to that point. But the thoughts I'm thinking now are going to create my tomorrows. And people don't realize that there's any association between thoughts and life experience. And it includes your relationships, every single one of them, romantic ones, friendships, family relationships. You can pretty much transform anything.
So looking back then at a breakup, one of the
Right.
things you say, and this is, so when breakups happen, like you
Yeah.
said, it's going along ideally, boom, the breakup.
Yeah.
But you say that we somehow attract those breakups. How does that work?
Yeah, and I think that you sort of have to really take accountability towards what you were thinking, what you were feeling. And a lot of times people don't put the pieces together. Like maybe you weren't focusing on a breakup, but you might have been focusing on like, when is all this good going to end? Or is something going to mess it up? Or, love can be hard or difficult. We develop these core beliefs that life is going to be painful, that love can be painful as well, that life doesn't always support you, or that bad things happen. And it's sort of redirecting those beliefs towards empowerment, towards feeling that you can be lucky in love. You can be happy in love. It doesn't have to hurt. You can have the relationship that everyone else is jealous of.
Okay, so I have to ask then an example.
Yeah.
So one of those things, and I have thought this myself, is that if you're in a great relationship and you
Hmm.
fantasize too much about getting married and it lasting forever, you jinx it, right? So the more you
Right.
think positively about your future, the more you actually jinx it. And often that is what happens. Like the more excited you are about a relationship and the possibilities, sometimes the worse it crumbles and hurts. So how
Right.
is that? Is this like
It's it's finding a balance. Like you don't want to become obsessed with thinking about that all the time. A lot of times when you put so much pressure on something happening, you end up pushing it away. So it's about finding that right balance of fantasizing about it, seeing it as possible, but then also letting it go. Like not thinking about it 24/7, just sort of letting it happen naturally. Seeing yourself there, but not becoming obsessed or needy about it. No desperate energy, not like feeling like you have to get married. Like, of course you'd prefer it. Of course you want that. Of course you identify with that, but you're not like so needy and desperate for it that it ends up, collapsing.
Yeah, because I think you're right. I think when we do fantasize about it, those fantasies are so powerful that we so desperately want
Right.
them to
It's
happen. And it's
desperate.
probably the desperation cancels out.
Exactly. That desperate energy just kind of pushes it away. When you're free about it and you're just sort of daydreaming on it, like wouldn't this be lovely? That's when it happens. And I mean, like I've said, I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in the lives of people that I coach. Like I've seen it happen so many times that I just can't ignore it. I mean, this is how it works.
So I want to go back to your breakup all that time ago.
Yeah.
A lot of people when they break up they feel exactly like you do. They feel terrible, and they
Yeah.
also are really desperate to get back in contact with him again, to
Yeah.
try and fix what happened.
Yeah.
What are your recommendations then for what you should do after breakup, and then of course what you shouldn't do?
Right. Well, you need to give the other person space. And you need to sort of imagine that that person is regretting it, that is sort of realizing that this breakup was a mistake, as opposed to being happy to move on from you. A lot of times people are crying because they assume the other person wants nothing to do with them. This sort of idea that they're happy to get away from you, or they hate you, or that, they just want to start again without you. You want to instead give them space and believe that they're going to miss you. They're going to miss all the good times that, you had together, because obviously if you were together, you shared good times. You want to focus on that, but people don't. Like they rehash the breakup over and over again and cry about it. I know I did, like endlessly, until I sort of woke up. I had that awakening moment.
I completely agree with that, because you always think when a breakup happens, it was your fault.
Hmm.
you're not good enough, and
Right.
the breakup is a personal judgment on you.
Hmm. Yeah, and you got to sort of realize, what were you like when you first met? Like that person was into you, that person loved you, that person was excited to be with you. Get back more into that energy and that feeling instead of wallowing in the current breakup. You definitely don't want to contact them. You don't want to stalk them on social media. You don't want to, call them 100,000 times from, sort of different numbers because they won't take your call. People do that. You don't want to push them away, especially right when the breakup happens. Like, just give them a moment to sort of let things breathe and let things have a better outcome.
Well, what I love about that too is it does actually give him a chance to miss you. He can't miss you
Yes.
if you're trying to get in contact with him.
Exactly. How are they going to miss you if you're calling 500 times a day? And people do that. You don't want to do that. That's the I mean, you can still pick things up if you've made that mistake, but definitely if you're looking to have a quick fix, just give it room to breathe. It's amazing the way the other person will come back and will regret things fast, but give them a moment.
Yeah. So one of the things I really like about what you said is that it's about thinking about who you were when you first met, because you are so right about the fact that when we're in a relationship, especially if it's one we really care about, we
Yeah.
will reorganize our life
Yep.
around this guy because we think
Right.
we're being that's what giving people in relationships do.
Right.
They merge together as one. So thinking about who you were
Mhm.
before you met and getting back to that person,
Yeah.
do you have any like practical tips where we can kind of remember our single selves?
I mean, I think remembering your own interests, because it's fine to have shared interests, but a lot of times you'll have personal interests too. Not being afraid to form goals that don't involve this other person. Really hang out with your friends again. Don't be afraid to go out. Don't be afraid to have a social life. Like, you don't want to lose your independence because that's the person that he fell in love with. Like, he fell in love with you being your independent self with all of your interests. Don't lose yourself in another person. Like, it's fine to be giving, it's fine to be, loving, it's fine to sometimes accommodate, but you don't want to always accommodate. You want him to accommodate to you too.
Yes. So what I really like is about what you're saying is that this isn't just post breakup behavior. This is
Right.
actually, if you get back with him,
Hmm.
you need to make sure you
Yes.
keep doing it.
Exactly. No codependency, because codependent relationships are just a disaster. Like, you want to learn how to be happy independent of him. Of course, you want to be with him, but you need to know how to be happy just with yourself, just doing your own thing and just being relaxed.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a hard question. Do
Yeah.
you think there are some relationships that just shouldn't be saved?
Well, I mean, I think in terms of if someone's physically harming you, I mean, definitely you really want to look if this is, harmful towards me. A lot of times you want to really think about in terms of who is best for me. Don't want to get back with him just because, your ego is bruised. Like, think in terms of, was this relationship right for me? Could I possibly do better? Think in terms of you having the power and being able to select whoever you want, as opposed to him being the only option for you.
Oh, that's interesting. So, because that is exactly it. In the wake of a breakup, no matter how bad the relationship was, we're
Mhm.
lonely and we want him back because we want to go back to our
Right?
safe place, our
Mhm.
comforting place. But what you're saying is actually in the wake of a breakup, this is a really good time to reassess
Yeah.
whether this is really the best you want
Yeah.
to do.
Because you want to feel like you can have the most awesome man in the world. Like, does he fit my needs? Was he good enough for me? Not, this idea of feeling like, am I good enough for him? Is he good enough for me? And feeling like you could have him back no matter what. That isn't the question, but do I want him back? Or would I prefer someone better? Because you have the option. Know that you can, have 10 amazing guys fighting for you, and who's best for me.
Oh, I love that. I really, really like that. So I want to talk about your Get Your Ex Back in 25-day challenge.
Yes.
It's a series of YouTube videos and
Yes.
anybody can jump on and do it. Tell me
Mhm.
about what that is.
Well, it's about reclaiming your life, reclaiming your happiness. I have an accompanied book that also goes with it. And basically, it's visualizations, it's um, activities that you can do. Like I have people go out and volunteer, like go out and watch a sunset, things like that. Just learning how to love life again and be at one with the experience of life, because reclaiming that joy is what's going to attract him back faster than you can imagine. So it's about focusing on him, visualizing him, but then also just living life, because a lot of times people have lost that joy and you want to reclaim it.
So what I really like about that is that you're not spending your time missing him and trying to
Right.
do things to manipulate him back,
No,
or
not at all.
yeah, you're focusing
Definitely.
on the pain, healing
Right.
the pain. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to heal it within yourself first, because when he comes back, like, you want a new relationship. You don't want the old one. You want a better relationship, a fresh start. So think in terms of a blank canvas, like you're creating brand new, as opposed to duplicating the old one, because the old one crumbled. So you want a fresh start, and you want to approach it in a new way. You know more, you've learned more, you've evolved, you've grown. Don't resent the breakup. Like, it was an ability to rediscover yourself in ways you wouldn't have known before. And you can bring so much more to the relationship now.
So it's going to be a much better relationship when you do.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So do you have any stories? Because I know, you've got those videos been watched so many
Right.
times. A woman come back to you and told you stories about what happened when they took the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's transformed so many different lives. I mean, I get emails almost daily from people that this has worked for. There's also a ton of comments, like, on all of these YouTube videos. It's amazing the way it's transformed relationships. And really, I've found that, like, it's helped people that have been broken up recently. It's helped people that have been broken up for years. I've noticed that it's helped so many different kinds of people, even in the most unlikely of circumstances, where you think, well, this couple doesn't have a chance. It's helped those types of situations too. I've seen people get married, that have gotten back together. So it's so beautiful, and it makes me so happy, to be able to touch people's lives for the better.
That is fantastic. So, and it also, what I love about that is too, it's a community thing. So if
Right.
someone out there watching is going through a breakup and feeling alone, they could just go
Yeah.
and scroll down through the comments and
Yeah.
see other women going through it. And
Right.
for those of you watching, if you want to watch that first video for the 25-day challenge, just wait to the end of this interview and you will see the first video there, and you can click on it and start watching it. So I want to ask you one last question, Veronica, about you don't just do relationships coaching.
Hmm.
You do weight loss
Yep.
and financial.
Finances, health, career, I mean, pretty much anything. The law of attraction is something that you can consciously use for every area of your life. I've transformed my life. I lost 150 pounds, which is like, I was twice the size what I am right now. So I have weight loss videos. I also bought my dream house last summer. I travel the world now. That was something I was never able to do. And I finally manifested that. It's so exciting. And yeah, I'm happy to help anyone transform into their life, the life of their dream.
Fantastic. And for those of you watching, if you want to see if Veronica's coaching is right for you, learn more about how to get your ex back in 25 days, we have a link for you. Just go to yourbrilliance.org/Veronica. That's yourbrilliance.org/Veronica. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. And I wondered
Thank
if you had
you.
any last message you would like to leave our viewers with.
Yeah, I mean, just know that all possibilities exist, and latch onto that hope, empower yourself. Feel like life can be on your side. It can be working for you instead of against you. And just know that you have the creative ability to transform your world and that it exists. So really keep searching, growing, having that determination inside of you. It will pay off.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you out there for watching. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, let your brilliance shine.